Hello, welcome to Talking Politics. With an election around the corner, the Thai political scene is becoming more and more interesting and also at the same time more and more complicated. That's why we came up with this program, Talking Politics, to help our audiences, especially non-Thai audiences, understand the complexity of Thai politics. Of course, with the help of politicians, experts, and analysts. And my guest today is Kun Kiat Sittheeamorn, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Democrat Party, a veteran politician, right? So, สวัสดีครับ
I wouldn't call myself veteran.
Veteran, businessman turned politician. That's the right
Something
definition,
like that.
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So, back in an election season again, is it feeling excited?
It's quite refreshing, actually, because it's a different mode altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, our daily tasks, daily activities has changed completely, and having seen the parliamentary session come to a close last Monday,
Okay.
so it's everyone switched their campaign mode on.
We know that every election is different, but how do you think this coming election will be different from the ones we used to have?
4 years ago, I think the narrative then is either you choose one camp or the other.
Okay. The
I think
country
it's
was so
very-
polarized back then.
Very divisive,
Okay.
but only two camps.
Okay.
4 years on, I think that time one side is a known quantity, the other side is not yet quite known. This time around, both sides are known quantity
Okay.
compared to 4 years ago. Now, all political parties is now turning the campaign mode on, meaning they're ready to propose, send a message to the voters as to what they can do or what they would do or what they wish to do
Okay.
for the voters according to various demographics. Okay. This time is very different because that time, as I mentioned earlier, is only two sides.
Okay.
This time you have a lot of suggestion, even though some might say, well, with the authority of the Senate, there still be two sides. But I would say only a year,
Okay.
and things will change.
The countdown will begin soon to the road of the
begin.
Senate, right?
Exactly. So it's now more like normalcy of democratic society without special provision, without exception.
All right. Okay.
think that's the sentiment.
Okay. All right. Talking about a political message that each party is sending out. The Democrat Party has its own message to send
Yes.
out as well. So let's have some music then.
Okay.
We'll take a look at that.
โอ้ประชาธิปไตยยุคใหม่มาชวนพี่น้องชาวไทยเริ่มเดินไปพร้อมกัน ทำได้ไวทำได้จริงรวมสัญชาติในสามัคคีทำได้ไวทำได้จ
All
ริง
right. So enough for the free promo for the Democrat Party. You also in this is music video, right?
Yes.
All right. So I have to admit that the rhythm is very catchy.
Yeah.
The lyrics are very inspiring.
Yes.
But what is the key message of this music video? Because as far as I can gather, it looks like the party is sending through this music video a promise of a new dawn, right? I would say a better life in short for the Thai people. And that the party's veterans, like Kun Chuan, for example, together with the new generation of politicians are leading the charge into the election. Is that the correct interpretation of this music
More
video?
or less. But this is like the most symbolic action is Kun Chuan hitting the drum. It's time.
Okay.
It's
War drum.
well, that drum is like a war drum, right?
Yeah.
So it's a campaign time, and change the mode altogether of how political party acts or relate to people, and that's only a very different kind of presentation. Hopefully, people like it.
Okay.
And so far, the response has been positive.
All right.
But the key message is that we're ready. We have throughout generations. We have old and new. we have veteran and also new faces that would join the party in the upcoming campaign as candidates, and also those who has been involved in putting together the policy that would address the challenges of all the people of all kinds, of all groups.
Okay.
That's the message.
But did you have any part in designing the contents of production of this?
No, I'm not, and I didn't even know that I would be on this MV until I saw it.
Okay.
There was one meeting, MPs meeting every Tuesday, and they set up a setting to ask us to be on photograph. To be photographed, and didn't know exactly what they will use it for.
So that means you wouldn't be able to answer the question why one person is conspicuously missing from this video. Kun Apisit Vechachiva, a former party leader.
Well, you're not the first to ask.
So what was the explanation? You have Kun Chuan there, Kun Banjat there, two former leaders of the party, and Kun Apisit.
I wouldn't be able to explain exactly what happened, but during the time that we do this, even myself, I appear there because I was at the party at the time that was set up to take certain photos. Okay, so that's all I know, and I know for a fact that Kun Apisit, after he resigned as MP from Democrat Party 4 years ago, he did not come to the weekly meeting.
All right.
So the opportunity was not quite there, but that's no excuse to not arrange a special arrangement for him.
For a while, I thought he didn't make it through the casting process.
Oh no, I think he would be ahead of many people.
This music video comes out at a time when the Democrat Party seems to be in disarray. You may have a different opinion on this, right? But you have to admit the fact that the party has seen a series of defections by a number of veterans. And then your traditional stronghold in the South is being threatened in the coming election. And then you have to admit that the confidence in the current party leadership is questionable to the point that there have been calls by many MPs in the party for Kun Apisit to be back to help lead the charge into the election. So what is going on?
What's going on? I think you must also admit the fact that this thing happened to all parties, not just Democrat Party. And this is one of the reasons why we didn't campaign for the constitution of 2560. Okay? We see this coming. Because of special provision, because of the way it was put together, we saw that we can see even then that something bad would happen to all political parties. And we're now witnessing. Look at all parties, not just us. Okay?
I'll hit with defections.
Everyone just moving camps. And some for good reason and some for bad reasons, depending on the person. So what about values? What about principle? I think we, the people, and also the media, have to play a role in demanding. Why don't you go interview those who move camp?
Ask for the real reasons.
Why? Why do you do that? Don't you believe in the values of the party that you join with for the first time? Why? You move it for other interests? Because you want positions? Or you want what? It has to be asked. These people needs to be questioned. Okay? But it's happening not just to the Democrat Party of Thailand, but it happened to all parties.
But you cannot pin all the blame on those who leave, right? There must also be some issues within the party that make them decide to do things that way.
To be fair, different people left for different reasons, okay? Not all of them, I think a very small portion left to join other party for values and beliefs in politics. And that's concerning, okay? I would like to see good politics. I like to see good democratic politics and political parties playing a role. And Democrat Party, having been there from very, very beginning, this year we will be 77 years old. One of the longest standing history in the country and in Asia. In Asia, there's only one party in the Philippines who's a bit older. That's it.
No, but according to Kun Manjat Mantathan, who is the chief advisor to the party, right? And in an interview with Thai PBS recently, he admitted that this is the biggest crisis the party is facing. Do you agree with that?
Well,
Crisis in terms of people leaving the party and then the possibility of not doing well enough in the next election is there.
I think apart from the group of 10 January, if you remember, divided into two
the biggest,
camps, biggest
exodus of MPs from the party.
It happened in the past, okay? If you have long history, you tend to have ups and downs. And despite your best effort, I think you will see certain period we do well, certain period we did not do well. At this point in time, I believe, you mentioned party leadership and things like that, and that's understandable. It's not the first time I've heard about this. I can hear from our supporters all the time, both good and bad. But those who actually most emotional and really tell us off, they are those who love us dearly and sincerely. And the fact that they tell us all this because they mean well. They want to see that we change.
The more they love you, the more they become disappointed, maybe.
Exactly.
Right?
If your wife doesn't go at you, then there's something wrong. But anyway, I think we heard everything. We take everything in, and we try to do the best we can to change, to adapt, to adjust. You can see that this coming elections, Kun Jurin has said clearly that he would request and invite actually all former party leaders to be part of candidates and campaign. And that has been the tradition that we have done in the past. It's not the first time. When Kun Apisit was the party leader, he did the same thing. Okay? So I hope people would see that we're now coming together, leaving all the differences behind, and it's time for elections. Let's move on. Let's campaign. Let's help. Let's make sure people heard us the most.
All right. So you have gone through the so-called soul-searching process, and it's come up with the
whatever name you want to give us. Not necessarily soul-searching, but anyway, that's close enough.
All right. Okay. In the same interview with Thai PBS, Kun Banjat also made a very interesting observation about the last election in which the Democrats did not do very well, right? As we talked earlier, that the country was even more polarized back at the time, right? And Kun Banjat said that the reason that led to not very good performance by the Democrat was because there was this so-called fear factor, fear that Kun Thaksin Shinawatra, the former prime minister who is now in self-exile in Dubai, was going to make a comeback. So people who were so fearful of his comeback, believed that would be a safe bet to throw their lot with the Pram Pracharat party, the military-supported party, and with Kun Prayut coming back as prime minister. Do you think that kind of fear factor that Kun Manjat talked about is still around in this election?
Many people like to see that kind of narrative is still there, because some of them still continue to believe that going to ballot box based on fear or negative campaign would be helpful. It's proven here in many countries that it not always work well. I would not be surprised that some would try to use that still. But people forget the things whoever has done. I think we're talking about some very bright guy, very accomplished business person, but have done so many bad things on corruption cases. And since that time until now, cases has increased, not decreased. And none of them is political. It's all pure interest. So you want that? I don't think we do. Now, on the other side, I think we have now this time more choices. Everyone, put themselves up based on the constitutional condition, that these are the list of prime ministers from our party that we like to suggest. And along with it, we have the policy platform that if we become the ruling party, these are the policy that we will implement for you, for the voters.
Yeah.
Okay? So they have the choice. And we shall see. Okay? So this election, I think we would do, if you talk to the secretary of the party, he said he's confident that we would do far better. Even in the south that you have mentioned, I think the estimates at this time in the south we would do better than last time. That's what the party leaders has told the gathering of the 17 embassies attending the meeting at the party headquarters yesterday.
Okay. What would be the main factors that to make people who turn away from the Democrat Party out of whatever reason, disappointment or discontentment? What would be the factors that you think would draw these people back to support the Democrat Party?
I think several things. The people make decisions based on the benefit that they received in the past few years. Okay, so clearly, without income support program for agricultural products, people wouldn't be able to go through the difficulties of the COVID-19. Okay, so we have at least 5 million families, okay, of farming community, or half of the population of Thailand that benefited from the income support program.
So you think this is one of the areas that Democrat has been most successful?
And we have shown that we have done it. We can do it. Secondly, during the time of high energy prices, Ministry of Commerce has been working hard to make sure that the price is under control. So the consumable products has been far better in terms of, if you compare that to many other countries who has experienced the same challenge from inflation, high energy price, we have done not too bad. We could have done better, but it's not too bad. So people appreciate that. Okay, the Thong Pha program very much involved with the Commerce Ministry. So we make sure that people can have access to affordable consumable items. So these are the things. And if then we have the campaign that we promise what we would be doing if we become the ruling party, and that address also many other issues from the community of various groups, including SMEs.
But if you look at the platforms of most of the political parties competing in this election, there are very few differences. So the question is, what would be seen as the strength of the Democrat Party that would distinguish the party from the rest?
First of all, we don't do handouts. We do what is totally necessary.
So you don't describe your platform as being populist policy?
No, not at all. And if you look at the Prakan Raidai, which is like the income support, it's pretty much exactly like what they are doing in Europe. Okay? It does not lead to trade distortion. It does not lead to trade sanction of any kind. Totally WTO compliance. So I think that we can say fully that it's not a handout. And secondly, externally, we try to negotiate more deals, more agreements. I started the EU 10 years ago, and it was stopped because of the military government in Thailand. It started now. It's coming back. So if we manage to conclude the free trade agreement with the EU, everybody wins. What does it mean to people? You know, people may not appreciate what FTA does to our lives. It means that we will consume cheaper raw material, and we can export more because we are more competitive without the tax barrier. Okay?
Yeah.
So with good export, with cheaper raw materials, we would do far better economically throughout the country. throughout the entire manufacturing process, and people would benefit from it.
All right. So you sound very confident that the Democrat will do much better in this coming election.
I'm confident that we have good policies,
That's right.
and it will do better or not depending on how you also give comments to public as to what you see.
No, but what you're saying is in contrast with a series of opinion polls, right?
Sure.
Of course, we don't want to base our conclusion on the opinion polls, but
We
but
have
all
to listen to them.
That's right.
Yeah.
But all the opinion polls are not very friendly to the Democrat Party. They're not very positive, right? Kun Jurin doesn't even feature prominently in the list of potential preferences.
Every time we hit number 4, number 5.
That's right. So,
yeah.
so how do you explain that, and why the Democrat Party, even in the South, opinion polls conducted in the South, do not come out, favorably for the Democrat as well?
Well, when you said do not come out favorably, it's that they rank the most popular leadership, if you like, okay? But when people go to polling station this time, they have 2 ballots. It's different from the one ballot in the past. They didn't have a choice.
Okay.
So they have a choice now to choose the people they want and they like for their constituency, regardless of which party they're from. And they have a choice to pick the party that they like the most, lineup of party list applicants, and also the policy platform. So I think we would do better with a 2 ballot system anyway, because and it's a clear reflection of the party list system. Last time it's pretty odd, and nobody can explain to me or to the world why we have 1 ballot when we have the party list.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, if you don't have the party list, only constituency MP, 1 ballot is fine. But this time it's different, and I think with the 2 ballot system, we did very well every time 2 ballot system in the Northeast. We get a lot of votes for party.
All right.
Although we didn't get that many MPs, but yeah, we did pretty well.
I couldn't get talking specifically about the South, right? Why do you think all the other major parties are after your stronghold there? And according to many analyses, if the Democrat Party doesn't do well in the South, it means, they use the word, it means a total wipe out of the party.
Really?
You have heard that, right? They use the word สูญพันธุ์, right, in Thai, right?
And my response is really. You can say the same thing about the Northeast. The stronghold per Thai. And did you notice that everybody is there? Trying to take away certain portion, have a market share. Everybody is trying to do the same thing in the South, because we did pretty well in the South. So, well, you know, during the time of Kun Chuan as party leader at Kun Banyat, we were called Southern Party.
That's right, that's right.
Which I'm from Bangkok. It's okay so long as we get that many seats. It's okay, you can call us what you like. But it's a reflection that we did very well at some point in time in the South. There was one time that was 54 candidates, 54 seats. We got 52. Unheard of. Okay, but we did very well. Southerners are very aware of politics. They discuss politics from the time they wake up in the morning until they go to bed. So they're very aware, and money, politics has least effect to the Southerners. That has been the case all along, and that's why we did well. We don't try to use money.
But this time around, even Kun Chuan, the party, former party leader, admitted that the money factor will make a difference.
The sad part of all this reform that was promised is that we've seen this time money is much more used in not a very welcoming way if you look at the governance and democratic society. Certainly not. And we hate to see that. But unfortunately, many parties want it so badly, and they are willing to do what it takes to win. And that, so the burden is on the election commissions. Can you actually catch the bad guys doing bad things or not?
And on the people too, whether they want
and
to
the people as well. So
Okay, Kun Kiat, besides the domestic issues that we have been talking about, I think one of the major challenges facing the next government has a lot to do with foreign policy,
yeah,
which certainly in election campaign doesn't really make headlines and doesn't really get you votes, right?
Yeah.
But it's very important because the world has changed so much. I mean, things happen in one corner of the world, we have effects on the rest of the globe. We have a war going on in Ukraine. The rivalry between two superpowers, US and China, is still around and doesn't look like it's going to ease up very soon. And then we have crisis next door in Myanmar. So all this requires active, clear-cut foreign policy. We haven't heard anything about foreign policy from Democrat Party yet, but for you, I'm sure you have a great interest in this international issue, right?
Certainly.
So sooner or later, you have to talk about this foreign affairs issue. So what would be the position of the Democrat?
so you want the preview, you want the trailer of a long and interesting movie. Yeah, because the campaign, last time, if you remember, I think maybe Thai PBS 4 years ago also have put together a forum for foreign policies.
Yeah.
I attended. And
We
that
intend to
would-
do another one this year too.
And that would be good. So you can differentiate
Yeah.
and see the difference between the parties' thinking. Foreign policy, Thailand is 70% of our wealth, our growth, come from external affairs, comes from foreign policies, both trade, politics, social, everything, investment. So it's extremely crucial. It's very important for Thailand. I would not disclose everything because this is not quite the time of launching, and we see so many other parties always copying a good idea. So anyway, I think you know very well that Thailand, as a small to medium-sized country and economy, we have to strike a balance. We cannot afford to take sides, to choose sides. In the world of superpower fighting against each other or one another, you have to even be more careful. But Thailand, I emphasize, Thailand can be a member of international community with dignity. It depends on how we act on each and every issues or challenge we're facing. If you look at the situation right now, war on Ukraine and Russia, I think we have last week put together a vote,
resolution.
on UN resolution. So international affairs and agreement, we definitely in line always with what we have agreed at the United Nations with all other countries. Okay, so international protocols, international agreements of all kinds, we uphold that principle, which means we don't accept any invasion. We don't like to see undemocratic society. You talk about Myanmar. I would say clearly that in case of Myanmar, the military regime out there went way too far to be acceptable. Okay, if you start executing, not prosecuting, executing political prisoners and charge them with illegal allegations with no proof, that's unacceptable. That's way too far. And that's what I have been saying to also all the ambassadors from the EU. And I think we all have to do more. Okay? We all have to do more when they go beyond acceptable conduct. And they're all in agreement. You know?
But Thailand, as we know, has been very silent on this kind of thing, right? It has been practicing so-called quiet diplomacy. Is that something that you think should?
I don't believe in that at all. Okay, and I think as I sit in the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, we call in a number of times members from the Foreign Ministry to give them advice and give them direction, and the direction we gave them is not to be silent. It's to be clear.
But what did you tell them?
Well, it's unacceptable to be silent. Okay, that's to start with. And for those of our neighbors who has been going off track, doing things that is in violation of all the agreements that we have, unacceptable. And we have to do what it takes. Of course, we're not going to go fight them. We're not going to, and we will provide always humanitarian assistance to those affected by the regime. But we have to do more. Sanction does not work. Okay, it's seen. So what my suggestion in case of Myanmar, I suggest to the EU, the United States, to bring in China to the table, to work with China in order to resolve the situation in Myanmar. Okay.
So does it mean that under the Democrat leadership, if you do good enough in the election, right? We expect to see more active role by Thailand in the context of ASEAN, a leadership role.
If we are the ruling party,
Yeah.
you will see definitely. There's no doubt that we don't accept this kind of conduct and regardless who. Okay, they are our neighbors. We are so close to the people of Myanmar, and for the moment we have more than 3 or 4 million, guest workers in our country. So we have to find a good way to work together, live together, and getting prosperous together, but not through special means. Because I lost in the election, you must be, bad, and I put you in jail and I execute you. No, sorry, that's far too unacceptable.
All right, Thank you very much and all the best. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.